Hi everybody. If you have never heard of Albert Schweitzer, you might want to take a quick look on Google. Real interesting life. He was raised in Europe, born I think in 1875, and became a really good musician, played the organ and the piano. And that was his life up till he was about 30. And then he went back to medical school, and he had a big training too in theology. Went to medical school, got his degree, and then went to Africa with his wife to a place called Lambaréné, and treated mostly people with leprosy. So it's a really interesting story that then he lived to be 90, I think, right? So think about this. Here he is, almost a rock star, kind of gives that up in service of other people. He won the Nobel Peace Prize, and I think he won $50,000 or something like that, a lot of money back then. And he used it to build a hospital. Now, when he first went over there, his wife was the anesthetist, and they were working in an old shed that used to be a chicken coop. So then he got the money and he built this hospital. Could take care of like 400 people a day. So a really interesting story. And here's what he said. He had a great quote. He said, I don't know what your destiny will be, but I know that those among you that will be truly happy are those who have sought and learned how to serve. Learned how to serve. So I've thought about that a lot lately in this crazy environment that we're in now in the U.S., and there just seems to be so much anger and so much hate and so much blame, which is really not a good energy for anybody. You know, I understand why people are protesting, and certainly it's their right, but I also think there's a lot of energy in our heart from a love perspective that we might want to put towards people who maybe we don't even agree with, and see if we could have some impact that way. Just a thought. Anyhow, I was thinking about Schweitzer because in my work, and thankfully with all the friends that I'm blessed with, you know, oftentimes I enter into conversations where people are struggling with something. Either it's with themselves, their job, career, relationship. Sometimes we have some issues with their kids. And it reminded me of one of the principles that I do my best to practice, which is called seek support. And to seek support is just that. When we're stuck, whether it be work, whether it be the relationships, you know, physically, whatever it might be, where do we go to get some support? There's a lot of different places we can go. Number one is people. You know, surround yourself with a good group of people. I have about 5 people in my wheelhouse that I go to all the time. And one is my sister, Trish, my best friend, and then a couple others. So make sure that you're really engaging with those people that kind of can help you get right. There's workshops, there's books we can read, tremendous talks on YouTube and TED Talks about all kinds of information. So that all falls under the guise of seeking support. And then certainly if you're a person of prayer and faith like I am, that's probably where you want to go first. Abraham Lincoln had a quote. He said, I've been driven to my knees so many times by the overwhelming conviction I had nowhere else to go. So in other words, he tried a lot of worldly support and then just dropped to his knees and asked for something bigger. So just however you practice support, it's a principle, right? Just make sure you're getting enough, because sometimes we can stay stuck. Now the other side of that you heard me talk about Albert Schweitzer is to be support. So it's a double-sided principle. Yes, help me, but then how can I help others? And there's so many studies out there that say when we volunteer and we help others, there's a change in our physiology, right? Our brain releases serotonin and oxytocin, the happy chemical, and we really feel much better, and it has that impact. And then there's a lot of research out now that says our electromagnetic field in our heart can go out 8, 10, 12 feet and impact the environment and impact other people. It's something I'm really starting to read about because it's so interesting. And I think we all know it, right? We walk into a room and say, man, I just like being around that person. Or the opposite, right? Oh, I just need to get away from that person. So I would recommend that you consider now in this world in which you're in, you know, this week, how can you seek support for yourself? And more importantly, how can you be support? You know, I'm starting to develop a habit where I want to look around every Monday or Tuesday as I kind of plan for my week and just make sure I'm really conscious of who's in my life and who might need some support that I might be missing, right? Because we got 150 emails a day and the world gets nuts and we got to pay bills and everything else. So just slow down. There's a lot of power in being support to other people, and the world certainly needs it. Take care. Have a good one.